1に郵便、2に郵便、3子はなくて5に郵便ですから。届けたいお手紙があるのですが、ここからすっごく遠いところなんです。ピーヨ、届けるよ。
月曜日、賑やかな夜、ラジオに紛れそっとビート刻む、誰も気づかない、とてもかすかにそれは始まる。幾億年の時を超え、その続きで光に乗って不思議な出来事に僕らはためらったね。途方もないことが起きている。音波の構図の中におよ君を見つけたよ。淡い影だけの姿、何かを求め手を伸ばす。新世界のドア開け、真っ白夢に乗っていくつも海越えて強くなれるよ、優しくなれる。誰よりみんな知ってる神話のよう。
やあ、僕は白雪のあ、天使だ。僕のこの翼は作り物ではないんだよ。まあ地上の物質で構成されているものでもないんだけどね。僕は天から下された使命を帯びて地上で暮らしていくことになるんだけど、詳しい話はここで語るにはちょっと時間が足りないかも。それについてはゆずソフトの最新作「天使創造リブート」で確認してみてほしい。発売は2023年4月28日の予定だ。それに先駆けてキャラクターソングも発売されるらしい。僕のキャラソンは2023年1月27日に発売予定だ。 CD だけじゃなく iTunes ストアや Amazon をはじめとした音楽配信ストアでも買えるらしい。ぜひ確認してみてくれ。
奇跡のような出会いが僕らを導いたから、それぞれの定めを背にいざ行こう明日へ。偽りだらけの世界、君と僕巡り会えたのは真実。一つずつ知るたびに芽生え出す確かな想い、気づいたから覚悟決めていたはずだったのにね。貫き通す叶わぬ恋でも僕らは戦い続けてゆく。最後の最後まで固く強くつないだ手と手が 行く先に今もかけらのように揺れる可能性求めあまた繰り返しだけど信じているからずっとこの先もそれは蛍のように儚くても切なくても輝き続けたい好きだけどまだ言えないのわがままな恋心目の前の運命の螺旋越えてそれでもすぐ飛び込んで抱きしめて時の数だけいつまでも
もう喋ってよいのか？では我が輩は村雨、神社のご神体である村雨丸の管理者だ。こう見えても我が輩は神の使い、それなりには結構偉いのだぞ。まあ敬われるよりも親しく話しかけられる方が嬉しいのだが、詳しいことはゆずソフトの最新作千年版下で確認してくれ。発売は2016年7月29日の予定だ。あと我が輩歌も歌ったのだ。それが今度 CD とやらで発売されるらしい。しかも歌だけではなく我が輩の日常が短いながらも収録されているらしい。発売は2016年5月13日じゃ。よろしく頼むぞ。
誠意地の悪い神の所業か
Hello, and welcome to Syarin no Kani, Yukyu no Shonen. And so this is the Fandisk. I'm excited to read it. So let's get started with Masaomi's route. Masaomi. Rain beat against the window, accompanied by the roar of thunder. Wait, I realized I forgot to do some audio mixing here, so I'm just gonna make a guess. Alright, probably should be good. I don't know. The scene. Hosogi Masaomi's office, located at the top of the local municipal building. It was just past 1 in the morning. The man himself sat rigidly in his leather chair, finding it unnecessary to let the lights on. His aged hands held a single tegami. He had read the contents of this tegami many times already. The words written on the page echoed continually through his mind. The words written on the page drove themselves deeply and painfully into his rusted heart.
聞いておられるのですか、ほおずき先生。
A guest happened to be paying him a visit at the moment. He had visited at a rather inappropriate time, yet he seemed unaware of his own impropriety. His impulsive wheezes continues unabated.
私の息子の人生がかかっているんですよ。
The uninvited guest repeated himself once more. His son has assaulted a woman in his own apartment. Such was the victim's terror and drive to escape that she had ended up falling from the 20th floor window, resulting in her death. The Keisatsu had discovered stimulants upon his son's person. It was believed that he was under the influence of them at the time of the crime.
もはや先生におすがりするしかないんです。
Hosogi had received the documentation pertinent to the crime in question, and as well as the suspect himself only 6 hours prior. He was currently preparing for the indictment.
先生、私をご存知でしょう。
The man's grasping grew even more wild.
この町を都心のベッドタウンとして大規模開発を行ったのは誰です？ 近隣住民の反対を押し切って強制収容所を誘致したのは誰です？
Arrogant thoughts coursed through the man's head. Everyone in this city knows who I am. I'm the man who founded one of the greatest contractors in the world, Sakuma Construction. Surely you know me too, Hosogi-san. Hosogi-sensei, says he's sensei. After all, you are the current lieutenant governor of our little town. His eyes spoke trustfully. Sakuma Construction had begun in a rural country town. Because they had behaved with restraint during the chaos of the economic bubble, they had been able to make a name for themselves during the crash following this period. While their rivals were struggling merely to stay in the black, Sakuma Construction was growing steadily by taking part in public service projects and conspiring political figures.
首都の鉄人記念碑。あれはうちで請け負うことになったんですよ。
They had risen to the top in the span of one generation. One could say that they had enough power to make pigs fly. As such, even the most prominent and just bureaucrats bow their heads in their acquiescence to Sakuma Construction.
先生、聞いてますよ。
Sakuma-san's corpulent lips twisted in a crooked grin.
なんでも先の特別高等人最終試験においてたった一人の合格者もお出しになられなかったと。 放送会は混乱しているらしいじゃないですか。何度も最終試験を執り行い、多くの有能な特別高等人を輩出してきたあなたが、 鉄人候補とまで言われたあなたがまさかそんな失態をとね。
Hozuki remained silent. He didn't move a muscle. The snake had cornered the rat. Sakuma continued with a hiss.
候補生には逃げられたんですか？どうなんです？あの田舎町は私の地元でね。息子がバカな小娘に騙されて一悶着あったことがあるんですよ。いや懐かしい。今でも地元の住民との交流はありましてね。いろいろと噂は聞いているんですよ。
Sakuma elaborated. He discussed Hozuki's attempt to enact the barbarous punishment known as death penalty. He discussed the minor uprising the citizens had led. He discussed how Hozuki had suppressed them, and he discussed how Hozuki had let the cadet escape.
森田健一でしたっけ
Hozuki's narrow eyebrows twitched momentarily.
噂では先生はその森田とかいう男に大層入れ込んでいて、森田が幼少の頃からずっと指導を加えていたのだとか。
He prated on, drunk on the fact that he held the upper hand. This was not the sort of attitude one would use in a bid to spare one's son from punishment.
そういえば先生が特別高等人になる際の試験会場もあの田舎町だったそうじゃないですか。若き日のあなたは大層な野心家で胸の内に大志を抱いていたそうですね。なんでもあの世紀の極悪人樋口三郎とも親交があったとか。
As roundabout words were beginning to come together,
反逆を企ててるのでしょ先生。
lightning flashed through the room. Hozuki remained as still as a statue. Hozuki dropped his eyes to his hands and closed once more by darkness.
決まりですね先生。
Sakuma grinned.
私は何人かの政治家を飼っていてね。皆さん自分のために国家を奉仕させる素敵な政治家です。金と権力と他人の失脚が大好きでして、大月先生のように完璧に仕事をこなされる方は酒の席でいつもやり玉に上がるんです。
Sakawa was issuing a threat. He was offering Hozuki, Masaomi, the opportunity to become a pig of his own volition.
先生も大月の家に入ってまで築き上げた地位をつまらない抽象で失いたくはな。
His voice stopped. His narrowed eyes widened. He stared blankly at Hozuki. He let out a groan and took one step back. 2 steps back. He was a weak man. He was the kind of conniving, petty man that was so common in this world. He was different from Higuchi Saburo and his Usuko. 3 steps back, 4 steps back. He suddenly came to a halt. His feet were affixed to the floor as if glued to his own shadow. Why? Simply because Hozuki had opened his mouth.
重いか。
Hozuki's bottomless gaze peered into Sakuma-san's very soul.
私があなた方のような虫けらをひねり潰すのに。
The man felt the frost of Hozuki's voice within his very heart.
何かためらいのような感情を抱くとでも。
and then he cast his gaze to the Tegami once again. He behaved as if nothing had happened, and in truth nothing had happened from Hozuki's perspective. A blood-curdling scream resonated throughout the room. A peculiar sour stench permeated the air, and the big shot standing before Hozuki had just soiled himself. That was nothing worth paying any particular attention to, of course. Hozuki found himself lost in reminiscence. Long ago, he had once introduced himself as Akutsu Masaomi. Long ago, he had once taken a special high-class individual exam in a peaceful country town. That was where he had first met the man he could call his friend, and that was where they had endured hardships together. His friend was no longer in this world, and his friend's son had already taken his leave from Hozuki's teachings. Their brilliant summer days were long gone. Memories he once cherished began to shine once more amid the rust of his mind. Please, forgive me for coming to adore you. His eyes snapped wide open as soon as he recalled those elegant words. The fleeting dream of his beloved, Hozuki Masaomi, could never regain that which he had lost, and he could never escape the crime which he would shoulder for all eternity. A piercing heat gnawed away at my flesh. I arrived at the training site without incident, something to be thankful for. However, not a person was in sight. I'm not speaking merely of cadets. Our instructor was not present either. Perhaps I merely arrived too early. I stole a glance at my watch, then reflected upon my travails up to this point. Travails? I had crossed no Crescent Mountains with an area of rest. I've been relieved of my equipment in an accident along the way, and I've been run out of rations 2 days ago. A number of my fellow cadets had already succumbed to altitude sickness or fallen into ravines. I had been unable to help them. Perhaps this would not have bothered me so much as what this would not have bothered me so much were I not still young enough to consider their deaths as something unjust. There's no sense in dwelling upon the past. I stared out into the distance. I could just make out a small village at the extremities of the field. It was time for a brief bout of respite. I wiped out some sweat, then trudged onward once more. A girl stole upon me with some abruptness. My privacy was being invaded without my consent. She came to a stop in front of me, blocking my path and distracting me from thoughts of her origin. I decided to follow suit. I turned to face her.
お邪魔でしたか?
What's their obligation? Gimu. She greeted me with a bow and smile. Interruption? I questioned her words, forgetting my own introduction.
先を急いでいらっしゃるように見えましたので。
Not particularly. My clothes were quite tattered, and I was caked with sweat and dust. Her theory was not a baseless one.
私はサイカーミーナと申します。
I'm Okutsu Masaomi.
ありがとうございます。素敵なお名前ですね。
Steaky. Arigato.
どちらからいらっしゃったんですか?
From outside the state. Are you a resident of this town?
ええ、毎日学園に通っています。この町は空気がきれいで、住民の皆さんは優しくて、とっても住みやすいです。
Sounds great.
お疲れですか?
え?
よろしければ
近くの川辺から水でも汲んできましょうか？
What is with this girl? Yeah. No thank you. My throat felt as barren as the earth beneath me, but I was hesitant to accept her offer.
誰かを待っているのでしょうか？
Hi. I suppose so. I was waiting for the special high-class individual in charge of the exam.
質問ばかりして申し訳ありません。本当にお邪魔じゃなかったですか？
Come on. Whatever. I began to suspect that this girl was leading me along in some way. Honestly, it was a bit of a novel feeling for me. After all, my position allowed me a degree of control over others.
私はいつも夏になるとこうやって毎朝ひまわり畑に歩いてくるんです。
Or Osampo, a shumi of yours then.
趣味という言葉はあまり使うことを許されないのですけれど、私の日々の行動を振り返ってみると散歩が多いですね。
Her manner of speaking was exquisitely peaceful, perhaps. Her words flowed at a steady, agreeable pace. Before I knew it, they had overtaken me completely.
夏は大好きです。
She ran her fingers through her wind-swept bangs. This girl possessed a degree of elegance far beyond the grasp of your average teenager. And when I realized that, I realized my foolishness. The badge on her chest, her strangely polite form of speech, and the way she smiled to allay the fears of others. So, you are a rehabilitee. She offered me nothing more than a nod.
不自由は特にありませんよ。お気になさらずに。
Her smile widened even
い
further.
つも笑っているというのは相手にとっても私にとっても気持ちがいいものです。辛いことがあっても寂しい思いをしても笑っていれば自然と素敵な考えが浮かんできて前に進んでいけるのです。とても幸せです。
I stepped toward her. I am a special high-class individual. I come to this town for the purpose of my final exam. There's a chance that
もしかすると
I may be assigned as your supervisor. Why had they chosen this remote town as the grounds for the final exam? The town in question had been founded for the purpose of isolating Hanzaisha. Hence why there were a wide variety of people bearing Ginu living in it. It was probably safe to assume that at least part of their motive was having cadets interact with rehabilitees during the course of the final exam.
そうですか。それは楽しみですね。
Her smile seemed somehow refreshing.
その時はどうぞよろしくお願いしますね。
I offer her my own practice smile.
阿久津正臣さん、
Hi.
お優しそうな方ですね。
I really did not know how to deal with this girl. Saika-san. Expressing your personal opinion about others in such a way could be construed as a violation of your ginu.
試験と捉えられてしまいましたか？
Her eyes widened a bit.
申し訳ありません。皆さんそうおっしゃるのではないかと思いまして。
Yeah, I'm afraid. It was a comment with no commentness. Me. Kind. Bakabakashi.
以後気をつけますね。ご指導ありがとうございました。
I think you would find it most prudent to hasten from this location. The exam will be beginning soon. My words may have been more formal than necessary.
かしこまりました。
Sarabada. I'm pretty sure it's just sayonara. Let's settle with that.
またお会いできるの
The girl turned around and proceeded down the road. Tokorode. I blurted out something rather pointless. What about me? Seem kind. She spun around with all the serenity and dignity of a swan.
惹かれるものを感じたのです 少し寂しそうだけれど大きくて力強い瞳に
Yo, before our bro became the most scariest motherfucker in the world. Could just get 10 out of 10s without having like any issue if we wanted to. Anyway. They were pretty late. It had already been 2 hours since that girl's departure. The appointed time had passed by long ago, but they still had not arrived. There was no possibility that I had mistaken the time or location of our meeting. A group of people appeared in the distance, walking this way from the direction of the state line. It looked like there were 4 of them. That's a surprise. Odoroita. I've been under the impression that only 1 or 2 people made it to the final exam each year. I found myself a bit impatient for their arrival. Soon enough, they came far enough that I was able to make out their faces. They seemed to be of a similar enough state of exhaustion to my own. However, their facial expressions indicate they also felt a certain sense of satisfaction.
Yo! いい天気だな。
I looked at the men skeptically. You are aware tardiness is grounds for severe punishment. I like how his concept of severe punishment was that he shot the girl. I still remember he shot the girl. What the fuck was that? Well, that is a form of severe punishment. Punishment by death.
と言っても、肝心の特別高等人の先生がいないようですね。まったく、こんな山奥まで歩きで来させるなんて、正気じゃないよな。お前さんもそう思わないか？
They were wearing camouflage. They were most likely former Gunjin. Personally, I would call that glint in their eyes rather insane myself. Their flawless features and sturdy builds made them appear rather youthful. But in truth, they were probably much closer to being middle-aged.
ずいぶん若いな。ひょっとして、一人でここまでたどり着いたのか？
I gave him a nod.
阿久津正臣だろ？
A man emerged from within the group. He was carrying a silver duralinium case. He was garbed only in a shirt and jeans. Rather inappropriate attire, given the situation. He seemed to be about the same age as me. He smiled deeply. His facial muscles seemed to be quite accustomed to such actions.
俺は樋口三郎。一人っ子だけど三郎だ。よろしくな。
He sat his gaze down and extended his hand. I ignored it and spoke. Are you the leader of this group?
なんで？
The demeanor of the others in your group altered itself as soon as you opened your mouth. That is all. いい女だ。
なんだよ、理屈っぽい野郎だな。
Apparently, he found my demeanor strange.
阿久津？お前があの阿久津正臣か？
ほとんどの試験をパーフェクトで突破してるんだよな。意志力養成もパスしたっていう噂は本当なのかい？
It is. I had no reason to affect modesty.
すっげえ！じゃあさ、移民のダウンタウンにポイされたことあっただろ？あの時、地下市場の原油取引でガンガン儲けてたってのは？
Was it always their exam? It's like literally their exams literally the same, I guess. I thought they would change it every time. But there's always that place with foreigners, and then it's so poor and all that sort of thing. And they're part of the exam there is just to get rich or whatever. It's always like that. What is that about? Anyway, I would have to say that they are accurate.
俺さ、あの時よ、いきなり街を脱出しちゃったんだよね。だって何もスラム街で生き残れっていう試験じゃなかっただろ。だからもうちょっと治安のいい地域に住み着いて1年ぐらい経ったらさ、なんか知らないけど合格だった。ウケるべ。俺頭よくね。
He seemed rather frivolous. However, he had managed to lead a team of men through the mountains without incident. At quite a young age, too. It was safe to assume that there was more to him than meets the eye.
あとよ、
Meets the eye.
南方行っただろ。
They always do that. I guess they always go to the war. During the draft,
あんた自ら志願して少年兵を専門に殺してたんだって。
he asked me lightly. The other cadets looked fairly horrified, in contrast to Higuchi's casual attitude. That is correct. I finally took Higuchi's hand. Advancing along the path, which no one else will take, is the key to moving up in the world. I grasped his hand with all my strength, attempting to leave an impression on him.
ご立派なことで。
What do you put this?
まあまあ喧嘩すんなって。今日から阿久津も俺らの仲間なんだからな。
Higuchi's own grasp was in no way inferior to my own.
なあ、Masaomi。
Oh. The more allies, the more nakama, the better. As long as there is no limit to the amount of people allowed to pass on the final exam, of course.
お、トゲかと思ったら意外に素直なところあるじゃん。
He squinted happily. Yoroshiku na,
よろしく、Masaomiくん。
Masaomi.
友情は深まったか？
I turned around in surprise.
おはよう食。
It was a foreign woman.
おお、ほおずきありてんてじゃないですか。
Higuchi alone was excited.
樋口三郎。やはり生き残ったか。
Hozuki Ari. Ari Lilian Hozuki then. I had heard stories about the special high-class individual who was a foreign woman. But
てんてが最終試験の指導教官なのでありますか。
嬉しいだろう。
she smiled softly.
遅刻してすまなかった。でも君らも遅れたのだろ。まあ肩の力を抜いて頑張っていこうじゃないか。
At first glance, she appeared to be a rather ordinary woman. She did not exude the overwhelming sense of Boryuku that I felt from all my previous guidance instructors.
いやー、てんてのような萌えキャラが登場して一気に花開いた感じですよ。男ばっかりでむさ苦しかったんですよね。
Apparently, Higuchi was already acquainted with her.
よろしくお願いします。なんだってやらせていただきますよ。
Everyone else set themselves at ease. I, however, kept my gaze fixed upon the golden badge affixed to Hozuki-san's chest.
なるほど。確かにむさ苦しいな。
I froze in place. I felt no pain. It took me a few seconds to realize that I had not been shot. The three men who accompanied Higuchi were groaning dreadfully, and then they sank to the ground, their pain cut short. The roots of the himawari absorbed the red liquid stemming forth from their foreheads. What is it? Are they? I wonder what exactly is the qualifications, unless I guess anyone who didn't actually pass for their whatever the reason, they had to shoot them there if they were there. So the we had that introduction again. Ooh. I wonder what's the qualification involved. Instant death then. For all three of them.
で、
Higuchi began to stagger.
こいつらさ、山越えの時ずっと助けてくれたんだよね。俺一人じゃ絶対無理だったと思う。なんで？冗談だろ、てんて！
Hosogi-san spoke lamely.
さを思い知っておくがいい。
さあ、
私は女性であり、移民との根血である。それがどれほど社会的に不利に働くのかをよく知っている。お前たちのような屈強な男性とは生まれた時からすでにどうにもならない差があるのだ。そしてそういう差こそが世の中を牛耳っている。だが私はこの場で唯一銃を持っている。この場で唯一人殺しをためらわない。私は遅刻しても許される。なぜなら私は貴様らよりも強い立場にあるからだ。実に理不尽な差だとは思わないか？彼ら3人は死んだのに、卑怯にも貴様ら2人は生きている。この差を目に焼き付けておけ。生きていればこういうことはよくある。
つまり最初から俺と阿久津以外は殺すつもりだったと。
Hosogi nodded calmly.
確かに樋口のチームは頑張って最終試験までたどり着いた。だが頑張って頑張り抜いたことが何も報われないこともあるのだと知れてよかっただろ。
She sounded like a teacher admonishing a problem student.
最終試験に臨むにあたって貴様らは何も頑張らなくていい。遅刻してもいいし、失敗の言い訳をしてもいい。何でもやりますなどと浅はかな意気込みを見せなくていい。ただ納得していけばいいのだ。どうにもならないことはどうにもならないのだと。すべては私という憎らしい悪役の手のひらの上で最初から決まっているのだから。
She moved her gaze to me. The tenderness I had seen in her eyes earlier were nowhere to be found.
なあ、阿久津Masaomi?
Her gaze now felt like frost. I spoke up, seeking to avoid a sense of inferiority. Sonotori. It is exactly as you say. Higuchi glanced at me with all the anger of a demon. He most likely found me pandering loathsome.
てんてよ。
I was speechless for a moment.
死んじまったもんはしょうがねえ。友達は生き返らない。確かにどうにもならねえよ。
Higuchi placed his hand upon my shoulder and grinned, his body still trembling with rage.
さっき知り合ったばかりだけど、こいつはもう俺のダチだ。阿久津正臣にもしものことがあったらあんたを殺す。はったりじゃない。覚えておいた方がいい。
Was it in every exam? There's always one guy who's gonna go threatening the special high class individual. I think they overused the elements and the tropes and all that sort of thing. Oh well. Higuchi fell silent and attended to the chorus of the three men.
阿久津、
Hi.
樋口もそうだが、特別高等人の最終試験まで残った者は皆一様によからぬ考えを腹に抱いている。
No good.
お前はどうなんだ？
She kicked at the gravel beneath her feet. The problem was whether or not to answer honestly, or rather, whether or not to give her the answer she was expecting. Up to no good. Certainly not. How unthinkable.
ほう。
I've held this ideal since I was a child. I straighten my spine and thrust out my chest. I desire to take the people like you, and the people who overrun our shakai, and trample them. There was no way I could consider this as something no good. She didn't move a muscle. The sun grew even stronger. A gust of wind blew through the Himawari Batake.
嬉しくて仕方がない。
She muttered to me, her face expressing disinterest all the while.
やっと見つけたわ。
A hint of Hozuki's eyes, her true intentions stepped forward from her feminine tone.
阿久津正臣。
Her eyes shone with carnal. What? With carnal desire. What do you mean?
お前こそ私の後継者にふさわしい。
I don't think so. I don't follow anyone. I live according to my own ideals. The typical edgelord thing. Go ahead and try it. I shall look forward to this. Otanishi ni. It was my first time. My first time being forced to partake in the most tepid example of communal living. And that is, I'm referring to Gakko, of course. I'm Akutsu Masaomi. I looked down at the students from my position upon the platform and at the front of the room, forcing my head into a slight bow. Standing out, as it were, was not a pleasant prospect. After a short while, I softened my gaze and directed it to the floor. Yoroshiku na? Whispers began to drift throughout the classroom. Looks like he's pretty cool. He's pretty smart too, but he seems a little distant. Apparently, I've been evaluated as such, with but a single glance. I made my way through the seat that had been assigned. As I was doing so, Higuchi took my place upon the platform. Higuchi thrust his chest out in a rather haughty fashion and assumed a posture not unbenefiting of a military officer.
ただいまご紹介に預かりました井口三郎でございます。
His tone filled me with disgust. By the way, why is he not wearing a uniform? I was expecting both of them wearing a uniform or whatever.
私の家系は元来無類のおっぱい好きでございまして、私も幼少の頃より自分の胸に手を当ててよーく揉んでみました。
Sounds base. This guy.
その頃より ヌーブラとは何かと真剣に考えるようになりまして、現在に至ります。
A wave of chatter spread across the room.
私はプー太郎の身分ではありますが、耳たぶが人一倍大きいので将来の不安はございません。大器晩成と言われて50年を過ぎた父虎次郎、引きこもりだけど色黒の母悦子に囲まれ、すくすくと育った至って健康な日本男児です。
Nippon. After that, he blurted at length about Babe, mod subculture, and many other terms I had never encountered before.
ですので、お前らみんな仲良くしようぜと至ってまともなオチでもってご挨拶を終えたいと思います。
I like how he speaks. It's so. It's like he's reading like a paper. You know, he's holding a paper and he's reading it from it. I can obviously tell that's intended, but it's just it's so funny.
ご清聴ありがとうございました。
I do not believe it is proper to applaud one's audience for their stunned silence in the face of one's buffoonery.
いやー、人前に立つのは気分がいいな。
変なやつ。
ねえねえ、マチャオミくん。
After Jigyo ended, Higuchi approached me, affecting a simpering sort of attitude. Do you need something?
俺らなんで学生やらされてんの？
Perhaps they wish us to begin our education anew.
もう一度青春しろってことでいいのかね。
We have been sent here on Hosogi Abi's orders. There had to be some sort of Ryu behind it. Sureshimasu.
あ、どこ行くんだよ。
I'm going to take a look around the Gakko. I want to get a feel for what the students are like here, as well as determine the layout of the building.
おお、行動派。そんじゃあ俺はクラスの女の子たちと年頃になっておくわ。
You're pretty thick. Our exam has already
モ
begun.
テるからね、俺は。
Which is true. I had been privy to the same brand of education that the other children of this world had experienced. As such, I found myself curious about just how many functions this institution of learning served. At a glance, though, it seemed to be nothing more than a gathering place for youth. Everything seemed rather futsu. Boys and girls engaging in sports, related endeavor outdoors. Various groups of students were leaving the building together. I did not catch sight of anyone wearing a badge. However, it is quite inconceivable that the special high-class individual exam would conclude with nothing more than a few idyllic days at a sleepy school in the country Inaka.
阿久津さん？
Oh. It was the girl I met at the Himawari Batake. I found myself drawn to her badge, as imprudent as such an action was.
やっぱり阿久津さんですね。またお会いできて光栄です。
Arigato.
この学園に編入なさったのですか？
Maybe it was Domo. I don't know, man. Hi. As part of my exam.
お友達はできましたか？
Yeah. After all, this is only my first day here.
学園の皆さんはいい人ばかりですから、すぐに打ち解けることができると思いますよ。
Her voice was simply sublime. She lifted her hand to her mouth as she let out an elegant titter of laughter. She seemed so very radiant to someone like me, someone who had been raised knowing only vulgarity. Saika-san, do you mind if I ask you a question?
はい、いくらでも。私にはプライベートというものがありませんし。
Wait, give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, more like the following day. Jesus Christ, I felt so tired last time for some reason. Alright, let's get started reading. Saika Mina, was described at all times to ensure that her words were as inoffensive as possible. That's very discretionary, man. An open nature, a pleasant nature, will not ask of her. They were demanded.
それと私に敬語を使う必要はありませんよ。
Her Kimu necessitated that she chose her words with great care at all times. Yokaro. Ja. Other than you, how many realities attend this school?
いいえ、私の知る限りでは一人もいませんよ。
Not a single one?
意外でしたか？
Well, not really. The students attending the school are still rather young, after all. If there were any other realities attending the school, they would probably only have obligations along the lines of absolute parental servitude. So, it is safe to assume that you are the only reality here.
ええ。
Oh, excuse me. Gomen. The word rehabilitate has a rather derogatory connotation to it, does it not? It would be prudent to refrain from using that sort of language in front of the person in question.
いえ、言葉はともかく阿久津さんのお仕事に対する真剣さが表情から伺えて感心してしまいました。
Well, it's not as if I'm working right now. No. Wait a minute. This was the special high-class individual final exam. We have been forced to attend a school in the Inaka. A gakko with a single reality happened to be attending. Perhaps that meant, starting today, I shall be the special high-class individual in charge of you.
どういうことでしょう。確かに今日になって突然今まで私を見てくださっていた先生が異動になったと聞いていますが。
What about his replacement?
まだ存じておりません。
Looks like we decided then. Please follow my orders from here on out.
はい。よろしくお願いいたします。
The exam had already begun. I needed to take action without waiting for further orders from Hozuki Ari.
なんだか恐縮です。
Really though, it seemed that supervising her would prove to be fairly easy. Please wait for me at the gate. I will accompany you home.
どちらへ？
I need to have a talk with Hozuki Ari. I have to acquire Saika-san's records. I left Saika-san behind and head to the special guidance room on the second floor of the Gakko. Akutsu desu.
入りたまえ。
It sounded like she had been expecting me. In the city, special high-class individuals live in official residence designated specifically for their use. Their offices were located there as well. But I suppose that they simply borrow rooms from the Gakko here.
早かったな。
She spoke with a probing gaze, resting her chin in her hands.
調書が欲しいのだろう？
How did she know?
最短記録だ。やはり貴様には試験に合格する資格がある。
I think I like the smirk better. Apparently, my prediction had been correct. Ja, will you allow me to serve as Saika Mina's supervisor from this point forward?
よろしい。見事構成させることができれば、貴様は晴れて特別高等人だ。
Hozuki handed me several documents.
少し待て。
Hi?
暇だし、茶でも飲んでいかないか？南方産のハーブティーが入っている。
A special high-class individual was telling me that she had nothing better to do than drink some kocha. Something seemed very ominous about this situation. If you wish to chat, then please allow me to refuse.
そう言うな。付き合え。
Go in, but I have a rehabilitate waiting on me. I turned my back and made for the door.
そうか。なら仕方がない。樋口三郎の最後を見せてやろうと思ったのにな。
Nani?
当然だろ。あの男にはもう見るべき非構成人がいないのだから。
I turned back around. Her lips had curled into the sort of smile you'd only see in Jigoku. Red, glossy, devilish lips. You're saying that Higuchi is going to fail.
阿久津のせいでもあるな。
My fault. She was right. It was legally impossible to assign two or more high-class individuals to a single rehabilitate.
まあ気にするな。我が国は世界一の競争社会。他人を蹴落とす自由が国民一人一人に与えられているのだから。
Indeed.
何か思うところがあるなら聞くが。
Perhaps this question was another part of the test. In terms of public interest, I'm quite certain that it would be favorable to have multiple successful applicants to the position.
と言っても、もう3人も殺してしまったしな。
She opened up the drawer to her desk while humming to herself. She took out a Jew.
こいつは私のお気に入りでな。
A fucking Glock. A fucking Glock. She brandished a very same gun, with which she had dispatched Higuchi's compatriots. The deadly speed with which Hosuke had accomplished this was nothing to scoff at. Though they may have been taken by surprise, her skills with the gun were undeniable.
もちろん。私も国家の犬として働いている身分だ。今回の試験でよりたくさんの人間を合格させた方が放送界のお偉方の私に対する点数は良くなる。
Yeah. Hosuke merely shook her head.
つまらないだろう。
Huh?
特別高等人の最終試験はすべて私に一任されている。貴様らを生かすも殺すも私の胸一つなのだ。わからんか？
After a short pause, she began to speak with some leisure.
私は最終試験にかこつけて羽目を外しているのだ。
Beneath her smile lurked the specters of death and catastrophe.
では、樋口を呼び出して処理するとしよう。
We had reached an impasse of sorts. This woman, Onna, was quite capable of disposing Higuchi without a moment's hesitation.
どうだ、阿久津。どうにもならんことはどうにもならんだろ。
はい。その通り。Higuchi had declared himself my friend entirely of his own accord. だが。
なんだ？
いいえ。If anything happens to Akuchi's Masaomi, he said.
私にはわかる。お前は一見冷酷な無頼を気取っているが、内面は義理堅く友情に熱い。
What exactly was she getting at?
樋口は危険な男ではあるが、殺すには惜しい才能を持っている。
よかろう。わかりました。
ほう。
A sigh escaped my lips. What is it that you desire from me? Hosuke nodded, seemingly satisfied. What must I do in order to have Higuchi's life entrusted to me? There was no reason in particular, exactly, for me to come to Higuchi's aid in such a fashion. However, I was rather curious to Hosoki Ari's motive in threatening me in such a way.
私の席に入れ。
What did they mean by this? Huh? My mouth opened so wide that even I thought I looked like an idiot.
ほおずきの姓を名乗るのはお前の将来にとってもプラスになると思うのだが。
Certainly. Her words held true. The Hosoki name was associated with an industrial group who had been among the most prominent defense contractors in the nation before the war. It brought to mind visions of the elite. The name held connections to high-ranking military officials, wealthy aristocrats, notable politicians, and members of the ruling party. It would hasten my ascent through the ranks.
あ、靴のせいなど惜しくはあるまい。養父にはさぞ恨みがあろうな。
So you knew. Shiteru. Her attitude had from the start suggested that I held no secrets from her. I understand your terms, but I cannot offer you an immediate response. That said, I will look upon the prospect with optimism.
では私も樋口の処分を保留にしておくとしよう。
She had no intention of taking action against Higuchi from the start, had she? 失礼しました。
余興にしては楽しめたぞ。
I had to admit that the foreign woman before my eyes was one or two steps ahead of me.
阿久津と愛を育むのも悪くはないな。
Man, she really just looking for a boy toy or something. What the hell is this? Or at least, I would like to hope that she was only one or two steps ahead of me. Sorry to keep you waiting. Saiki Mina had waited for me without complaint.
阿久津さん、見てください。素敵な夕焼けです。
I followed the direction of Saika-san's fingertip. The sinking sun cast a molten hue upon the horizon. Hi. It's quite lovely. More importantly, I've been assigned as your supervisor. I, Aksu Masaomi, acting in the capacity of special high-class individual, will hereby hold your human rights in the highest esteem and aid your rehabilitation into Shakai to the best of my ability. However, if a situation arises where I deem you are acting in negligence regarding your Gimu, I reserve the right to temporarily revoke your human rights. I will then employ any means necessary, up to and including corporal punishment, to steer you back onto the path of righteousness. Now, regarding the details of your Gimu, in addition to those established by the Grand Court, I am authorized to provide supplementary restrictions at my own discretion. Furthermore, I am tasked with the supervision of any new rules I personally establish. Lastly, if I decide that you have demonstrated sincere adherence to the guidelines established by your Gibu, coupled with meaningful reflection upon your actions, as well as a dedicated commitment to rehabilitation, I will immediately file a claim with the Grand Court calling for the dismissal of your Gimu. Ijota. Do you have any questions pertaining to this matter? After finishing with my trite compulsory phrases, I looked to Saika-san.
はい、大丈夫です。
Soka. Would you mind explaining to me the details of your Gimu, then? Her Gimu was known as the denial of privacy. It was always a good idea to listen to the rehabilitees' conception of their own Gimu. Doing as such could provide some insight as to their thought process regarding the original crime, Hanzai. I had been expecting a lengthy explanation. What I received, however, was a single sentence accompanied by a dead sort of smile.
私は
すでに私ではありません。
Meaning.
阿久津さんの目の前にいるのは私ではなく、私のような何かなのです。私は決して愚痴を吐いたり否定的な言葉を口にしません。人に不快感を与えないよう常に気を配っています。当たり障りのない会話を主に選んでいるつもりです。私には1日24時間のうちプライベートと呼ばれる時間はありません。
Indeed. I bet you barely even have time to breathe. Not that I intend to give you any myself. We'll be living together from now on. Let us make an effort to get along.
厳しいご指導をお願いします。
She bowed politely. Honestly, she seemed to be a model case. I wanted to apply for the cancellation of Gimu with some haste, but perhaps it would be more prudent to observe her for a while longer. Saika's residence was near the Himawari Batake at the town entrance. Do you live by yourself?
父と母は都会で暮らしています。
Do you have any trouble with living expenses?
仕送りを十分にいただいていますので。
She waved her hand at me, telling me not to worry.
どうかなさいましたか？
いいえ、別に。Having money is a wonderful thing.
何か気に障りましたでしょうか？
Not at all. Let's stop standing around and head inside.
長旅でお疲れでしょ？すぐに夕飯の支度をしますね。
Yes, her rest state was certainly rather impressive. She didn't seem to be lying about being well off, at least.
料理には自信があるんです。何でも言ってください。
The black market was currently flourishing in the Tokai in the aftermath of the first Syarin campaign. You need a fuzz over me.
そんな遠慮なさらずに。食べなければ体が持たないでしょ？
I'll just catch a hebi from around back and eat that.
ヘビ？
She clearly didn't believe me. Jodan janai. I was raised in a very poor home. I'm quite adept at procuring my own food. She caught her breath.
すみません。私なんだか押し付けがましいですよね。
A rather restrained woman, wasn't she? Apologizing for offering hospitality.
帰ったぞ。
What is this? Why are you here?
アリー先生に聞いた。阿久津を助けて2人仲良く試験に合格しろってさ。
So, I can interpret that you have, as you, having been assigned to supervise Saika-san as well.
知らね。
ふざけるな。
とにかく正臣と一緒に暮らすぞ。
He barged into the room, carrying a silver duralunium case by his side.
どうもこんばんは。
はいこんばんは。って誰？
サイカミーナです。この度阿久津さんの指導を受けることになりました。
ああはいはい。ここあなたの家ね。
He just walked right on in, without even knowing who owned the house.
かわいいね。
What's this? All of a sudden?
いつも笑ってるの？気が利く人でしょ。
いえいえ。あ、座ってください阿久津さん。
She pushed a small chair into my direction.
ちょっとおっちょこちょいでしょ。
そんなことは。あ、お風呂のお湯出しっぱなしでした。
貧乏症なところあるでしょ。
ないと思いますよ。シールが貼ってあるバナナに巡り合うとちょっとテンション上がるくらいです。
Bro, I straight up heard her say the word banana. Why am I not seeing the word banana here? Anyway.
かといって臆病なわけでもないでしょ。
い たまに北枕で寝てみるくらいですね。
完璧だ。
What is?
結婚してください。
He took a deep bow.
そうですね。
Saika-san was a bit of a loss. She laughed her way out of it. Higuchi, enough of your tomfoolery.
茶番じゃないぜ。結婚は俺の人生の最終目標だ。
I don't care. Just shut up. Your idiocy is so incessant that I can't even hear myself think.
なんだか賑やかでいいですね。
Strange bedfellows would perhaps be an apt phrase to describe our situation.
へえ、ごちそうさまでした。
お味はどうでしたか？
You're quite skilled with cooking.
樋口さんは？
甘みがね、足らんのよ。
Higuchi, she served us rice soup, miso glazed fish. What exactly is this meal was supposed to have been sweet?
俺は甘フェチなんだよ。お菓子の国生まれだし。
You don't have a serious bone in your body, do you?
ど真面目な正臣とはいい友達になれそうだよ。
Higuchi just kept grinning. No matter how much disgust I poured into my gaze.
阿久津さん。
Hi. She looked a bit nervous.
その。
Her cheeks were burning bright red.
お手洗いに行きたいのですが。
The words passed from her mouth, her lips as would vomit.
行けばいいじゃん。
Sokka, wakarimashita.
やはり。
Gonna watch her pee? What the fuck? Like a prisoner? Holy shit. Indeed.
専任の強盗人の方には認められていたのですが。
I'm not your previous special high-class individual.
何の話？
Tell me, Higuchi, how on earth did you make it to the final exam?
だからなんだよ。もったいつけんなよ。
I will now accompany Saika-san as she relieves herself. Silence fell over the room.
お前何言ってんの？不気味なやつだとは思ってたけど、まさか変態だとは。
As part of my duty. Nah, Saika-san.
はい。
I will explain it to you in simple terms. Higuchi's smile had quickly soured. Of the many different individualisms afforded a person, this girl is not allowed the concept of privacy.
いや、もうちょい簡単に言う努力をしろよ。
Sumari, we, as special high-class individual cadets, are to keep her under observation at all times. We are not to allow her even a second with which to relax. This is because we must continually confirm whether or not she is acting in a pleasant manner toward the people around her.
そんなのかわいそうだろうが。
Indeed, kawaii desu. De. Truly an overly sentimental man.
睨むなよ。どうにもならないってことだな。
As long as you understand. Ja, iko ka. While you're at it, how about a bat? Oh, bro. Jesus. Full blown hentai shit. He's gonna watch her relieve herself and now take a bath. Jeez.
はい。すみません。口答えをしてしまって。
阿久津、待て。
Nani? Are you going to complain further?
特別高等人としてミーナちゃんのトイレと風呂に付き合うんだったな。
Don't make me repeat myself. Higuchi's next words were accompanied by the most detestable facial expression.
その役目俺とチェンジしてくれる気はないかな。
Alright, first thing we need to cut tonight. Holy shit. Timestamp. Look at that. Look at Masaomi. Like, holy shit. He's wearing a military looking outfit, you know, tank top with like cargo pants. He goes to school like that. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Tense was not strong enough word to describe the atmosphere in the cramped bathroom.
阿久津さん、すみません。立ちっぱなしにさせてしまって。
Kinisurunda. As she scrubbed her arm with a sponge, she would occasionally steal a glance or two at back at me.
すみませんね。先にお風呂をいただいてしまって。
Kinisurunda.
気にするなと言われても。
Did you say something?
いえ。
She must have been a bit shaken up. I couldn't blame her. A man she had met just 2 hours ago was now watching her in the nude. The abject silence dominating the room probably wasn't very comforting either. It would be best to try and put her at ease. You said your special high-class individual did not invade your privacy to this extent.
はい、そうです。最初はくまなく私の私生活に密着されていたんですが。
Soka. I suppose he losing your restrictions because he was convinced that your rehabilitation had proven successful.
先生にはもう少しで義務が解消されるとのお言葉をいただいていました。
Suddenly I caught a glimpse of her chest through the gap under her arm. どうかした？
いえ。
キリスーナ。
阿久津さんはよく平然としていられますね。
I am already accustomed to seeing females in the nude. I'm pretty sure all of us are as well, but like, not in this kind of matter, I guess. Back in the war, that is. What exactly did you do in the war? What did you mean by that?
そうですか。失礼しました。
ところで、I had a look at your records.
長所というと、私の罪状や義務を負った経緯について書かれた？
You were born into a family of Shinto priesthood. Oh man. Considering the previous video we read, the base, you know, they were originally pinning Yoshino as like the the main heroine, but you know, it didn't work out that way. And then we have a guy named Masaomi. I did not plan this any one bit, by the way. None of this planned. This is just a big goose end. Her shoulders trembled slightly. The Saikake Ichizoku practices a doctrine which was part of what was considered our Kuni's state religion up until the Middle Ages, correct? Of course. At present we have advanced to secularization, and such practices have been reduced to the level of ceremonies performed to enliven national holidays. but there is a distinct flavored religious influence present in our official ceremonies to this day. Tatoeba. I watched the Daitorio's inauguration in Telebi. The person administering the oath of office was...
はい、祖母だと思います。当家はとても由緒正しい家柄と言いますか。いえ、私は家の秩序を乱してしまったのですけれど。
What exactly did she do that she got the argument? Sonotori. It would appear that you ran away from home several times. Her slight gasp contained a hint of fright. Your records also commented on how you made no attempt to practice proper etiquette or learn how to dance, how you employed improper language, and how your family name suffered greatly as a result of your actions. Eventually, her delinquent behavior had been photographed by a tabloid, leading to her arrest. Is everything I have said correct? She pursed her lips even further. There was a slight pause. A pause filled with protest. If you belong to an average family, it would be different, perhaps. However, you have been born into an environment where you must eventually assume your position as a representative of tradition to the people. You have been tasked with becoming a person of some class, someone who can command the respect and adulation of those around them. A saint, even. What's the term for saint again in Japanese? I forgot. Anyway, I already forgot the name for saint. It would most likely be worthless to question her about the details of her hanzai. Her parents filed a complaint personally. I suppose you could consider this case compulsory personality correction. はい。
本当に申し訳ありませんでした。
Are you reflecting on your crimes? Bakabakashi.
私は子供の頃から厳しいしつけのもとで育てられていまして。
I can already imagine what happened. You grew tired of leading that sort of life, correct? You've been raised to be a proper little princess, correct?
すみません。言い訳がましいことを言ってしまって。
As long as you understand that, it is not mondai nai. Her body shook. One more push should do it. I have no interest in circumstances regarding the bestowing of your gimu.
はい。
We live in an unstable age. For all I know, you may be a victim of false charge.
いえ、免罪というわけではありません。
Whatever the case may be, I intend to simply carry out my duty and nothing more. I intend to correct your personality into an existence which has discarded its personal life and lives only to please others. I strengthened my tone and sent a piercing gaze straight into her back.
わかりました。
She nodded without the barest hint of apprehension. Perhaps she had already closed her heart. Whatever. It hardly mattered. Soreja, would you like me to wash your back? I wouldn't want you to get chilled from taking a bath.
結構です。恥ずかしいですから。
She grew flustered once more. I suppose I must have reminded her that a man was viewing her in the nude. I doubted I would have many problems with her supervision.
どうだった？
Higuchi had been awaiting my return. He wore a terribly dejected expression. I answered him, watching Saika-san drying her hair with a towel out of the corner of my eye. I believe I had managed to grasp her basic personality.
ちげえよバカ。裸の付き合いをしてきたんだろうが。
で、
やったんだろうがっつってんだろうが。
The look at his eyes. The look at his face.
どうなんだ、おっぱいでかかっただろうが、おっぱいでかかっただろうがっつってんだろうが。
I think you may need a cold shower, Higuchi. Why exactly would my actions prompt a reaction of such a degree?
くそー、許せねえ、涼しい顔しやがって。
A high-class individual who makes this emotion apparent has failed at his duty.
ち、次は俺の番だからな。
I'm afraid not. Lord knows what you would what you would perpetrate. Special high-class individuals are allowed to violate their rehabbility's privacy after all. Saika-san had already managed to put on her save-ku. That is the save-ku specified for this district, correct? They seem rather inconvenient for the purposes of sleep, but she would just have to put up with that.
そろそろお休みになられませんか？長旅で疲れてらっしゃるでしょ？
I suppose. Yes. It had been quite an arduous trek. I suddenly became keenly aware of how much a toll crossing that Yama had taken on my body.
やはり。
もちろん、ミーナちゃんの隣で眠らせてもらうぜ。
Apparently, I would need to keep watch on both Higuchi and Saika-san. It was in the middle of the night. I could hear Saika-san breathing softly in her sleep.
むくり。
It wasn't every day you encountered someone saying "gilly" while they were awake. Higuchi, omae.
ち、まだ起きていたか。
This guy was incorrigible. You seem to be rather crazy, shall we say. I spoke in a whisper, as to not wake Saika-san.
世界中の女は俺のもの。覚えておいた方がいいぜ。
Should you not get some rest?
お前が寝るまでは寝ない。
That line of thought certainly won't get us anywhere.
寝込みを襲われたら大変だからな。
I don't engage in such practices.
そういう意味じゃねえよ。
He laughed deeply, pulling his Duralinium case toward him.
阿久津正臣。前に言った通り、お前はもう俺のダチだ。お前は俺のダチだが、今は特別高等人の試験中だ。わかるな？友達であり、ライバルでもあるというわけだ。最終試験の合格枠は一人なのかもしれないしね。
Soka. Indeed, being attacked in your sleep would most certainly be most unpleasant. As I had thought, he was not merely an idiot. What is that, What is that Duralinium case?
ああ、これ寝る前に本でも読もうと思ってさ。
He had packed books in there. So, even Higuchi reads hon.
しっけーなやつだな、ほんと。教養の差を思い知らせてやろうか。
Oh yeah, he really likes using that line as well. I mean, his son. He put his hand into the case and took out the notebook.
見るか？俺の秘蔵の持ちネタがぎっしりだぞ。
He seemed quite proud of it. Soyeba, when you were introducing yourself at the Gakko, you used quite a few strange words.
奇妙な？
I believe you said something like Nippon, was it?
ああ、そりゃ俺の持ちネタじゃねえよ。SF 小説のネタだよ。
Oh yeah, I do remember Masaomi likes it mentioned that he also read the same books that our guy also read. By Shosetsu. Do you mean that series, which have been quite popular recently?
え？読んだことねえの？
I don't read drivel like that. Fiction is nothing more than daydreams of those with twisted imagination. Suzoruku.
つまんないこと言うなよ。持ってきてるから今度貸してやるって。
No thanks.
読めって。俺と友達になれるぞ。
I told you. No thanks. I shook my head and returned to my bed.
ちぇ、面白いのにな。
I'll be heading to bed first. Let me warn you, people have attacked me in my sleep before. They end up being the one laid flat.
南方でか？
Yeah.
ん？
I framed a yawn.
まあいいか。俺も寝ますよ。と、その前に、今日の一発ギャグを考えてからだな。ネタを残して遺産とするのだ。驚け、我が子供たちよ。
Oh yeah, he literally did leave that notebook behind. He literally did, right? I drifted into the realm of sleep while listening to Higuchi's blather. Her sleeping face was as innocent as a child. It was innocent, and filled with kindness. It felt somehow genuine. Perhaps if I had been able to make a face like that while I slept, I could have gotten along with my otosan better. Though it was currently midsummer, I was greeted with a pleasantly cool morning. A refreshing breeze blew from the mataba. After collecting myself, I rose from the futon.
おはようございます。
Saika-san stood in front of me, meeting the morning with a broad stretch. You didn't wake up before I did you? If that were true, I would be guilty of neglecting my duty.
いえ、今ちょうど目が覚めたところです。
She appeared to be telling the truth. Her pupils were still wandering this way and that. I don't believe I've ever seen someone sleep in such a position before. Oi! Higuchi!
そんな無理に起こしてはかわいそうじゃ。
I pulled the futon out of him and slapped him around with a few times.
なんだよ。もう朝かよ。
He yawned in a very ignorant fashion. Aren't you supposed to be supervising Saika-san as well? Get to work.
すぐ朝ごはんの支度をしますね。
You heard her. Keep an eye on her while she's cooking.
なんだよ、お前は？俺に仕事を押し付けて何をやろうってんだ？
I'm about to meditate for 10 minutes. I will be taking economic notes for 30 minutes after that. I like how this is the CEO lifestyle. I meditate for 10 minutes and then I write in my notebook. I wake up at 4 a.m. Anyway, wait, we'll be right back really quick. Okay, I'm back. I think we're gonna go for 30 minutes more and then I'm gonna call it here. Alright.
要するにプライベートタイムってことかい？
Higuchi shrugged his shoulders and shot a glance at Mina.
ミーナちゃん、よろしく。
はい、よろしくお願いします。あ、樋口さん、口元でよだれの跡がすごいことになっていますよ。拭いて差し上げましょうか。
She leaned toward him with a rag in hand, smiling all the while.
いや、ありがとう。毎日頼むよ。
子供か。
阿久津さんも髪が少し跳ねていらっしゃいますよ。
どうぞ。
待っててください。櫛を持ってきますね。
I would have to pay more attention to my personal appearance. We might have managed to win the World War, but our kunis ran out when we decided to impose our influence upon the country to the south. Despite deploying a sizable amount of troops in the first southern campaign, we suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of the local resistance. For quite some time, our economy had been in severe depression due to the vast amount of war expenditures and reparations our government had been forced to make. However, in recent months, companies dealing in heavy industries have seen their stocks rising. This was most likely due to the foreigners who immigrated here in the wake of the war pouring in the capital. Okay, so they lost the first war. And then they had another war where, based on my understanding, they won the second war. These immigrants had originally been seen as despicable second-class citizens. Now, however, their standpoint in our shakai was nearly the opposite. Foreign civil servants like Ari, Ruli, and Hozuki had also begun to make their merit apparent. If we had not embarked upon the second Southern campaign, our economy may not have been taken over by naturalized foreigners. Gaikujun.
おいマサオミン、いい加減飯にしようぜ。
Wait just a bit longer.
阿久津さん、お忙しいところすみませんが、スープが冷めてしまいますよ。
そんなノートつけて一体何の役に立つって言うんだ？
Just doing that CEO thing. After I finish compiling data and proofreading it, I intend to send it to a scientific institute. By doing so, my notoriety as a special high-class individual will increase.
へえ、出世に余念がないな。
What about you? Are you making no efforts?
いろいろ補習が残ってるけど、まあ大丈夫じゃねえかな。試験には受かるでしょ。俺。
I would really like to examine the contents of this man's head.
スープ温め直してきますね。
She humbly marched back into the kitchen, carrying a pan. Yeah, that's okay. I'll eat it now.
いえいえ、どうぞお勉強を続けてください。
My apologies. I gaze at Saika-san. I wish to offer you my gratitude. As a special high-class individuals, we are required to monitor your personal life, but you are not expected to prepare meals or bedding for us.
そうおっしゃらずに、ご飯はみんなで食べるから美味しいんですよ。
Her words carried a natural air, as did her smile. Though we were imposing on her, and could not detect even a hint of artificiality in her actions.
何じーっと見つめてるんだよ。
照れてしまいます。
いや、なんでもない。とにかく、Let's eat 朝飯。食べよう。朝飯。Anyway, I will be attending Jigyo with you starting today, Saika-san.
はい。学園の許可などはいりませんか？
Things will work themselves out. Ain't that convenient? Well, technically, the special high class individuals in the school, so you know.
じゃあマサオミ、あとは任せたぞ。
え？
俺は街を散策し、ナンパに明け暮れる。
Don't come crying to me when Hozuki kills you.
大丈夫大丈夫。その時はお前がまたかばってくれるんだろ。
He just about bounced out of the house. I had to say, I don't remember covering for Higuchi in the past exactly.
お二人とも仲が良さそうですね。
Do you really think so?
はい。古くからのお友達なのですか？
Yeah. I shook my head. We have not, though if we appear that way to others. Then, though, it pains me to admit it, Higuchi and I must be rather compatible. I nodded a bit, talking to myself.
阿久津さんはいつもそうなのですか？
Do you mean? Her response took its time in coming. For a short time, she merely stared at me. I felt almost as if my inner thoughts were being reflected in her eyes.
本意が見えないと言いますか。冷静で客観的なのです。いつも人と距離を置いていらっしゃるよう。
That may be true, but aren't you the same way, Saika-san? You act with the utmost moderation at all times in order to facilitate smooth relations with the people around you. Personally, I think you could consider this a most viable form of social interaction. Saika-san's eyes widened a bit.
私たちは似た者同士なのかもしれませんね。
Onaji. As I paused to digest her words, an insect floated in front of my face, interrupting my concentration.
カブトムシですよ。
Indeed it is.
すごいな。大きいカブトムシだ。かっこいいな。捕まえてみたいな。
What do you intend to do after catching it?
どうするって楽しいじゃありませんか。
I sighed.
近くで見てみませんか。
Saika-san lost herself in the pursuit, heading off into the bushes without another word. What about us was the same exactly.
皆さん、おはようございます。
Saika-san spoke with pride as she entered the classroom.
こちらは阿久津正臣さんです。すごく頭の鋭い方で特別高等人の先生でいらっしゃいます。
Yeah, I'm still just a cadet.
失礼しました。とにかく皆さん仲良くしてくださいね。
I calmly observed the kakse gazing at us. They seemed to regard Saika-san quite warmly.
ミーナさん、なんか制服汚れてない？さっきまでうちの近くでカブトムシを見てたんですよ。
She grinned broadly.
阿久津さんは5匹も捕まえてくださったんです。
Wow, I like he did that.
もうすごいんです。阿久津さんは素早い動きに感動してしまいました。
The look on her face, I like that. Saika-san seemed to be the only person genuinely excited about her tale. However, the rest of the students listened to her warmly nonetheless. They smiled as one would while watching an innocent child at play.
もちろんカブトムシは山に返してあげましたよ。
I had been planning to eat them though. Otto. Suman. Jodan. Apparently I'm not very good with Jodan.
びっくりしました。もうからかわないでください。
I'm terribly sorry. Sokka. So that was considered to be teasing.
さあ、授業が始まりますよ。席は私の隣でしたっけ？
She pulled out a chair. Wait, let me fix it. There.
勉強道具なかったら貸しますので、何でも言ってください。
Sorry to pose.
でも阿久津さんは基礎課程はほとんど終了しているんでしたっけ？
Pretty much.
では逆に勉強を教えてくださいますか？
If it's something I understand. Her mood kept jumping from one extreme to another, and I kept responding to her in the same curt manner. It seemed that my initial impression of her had proven accurate. This girl really did throw out my rhythm.
ミーナさん、ちょっとここ教えて。ええ、いいですよ。
次のテストの山張ってくれない？
頑張ってみます。
A crowd gathered around Saika-san during the break between classes.
ねえ、お昼一緒に食べようよ。今日はですね、お菓子を焼いたんです。
She took something out of her bag and proceeded to unwrap it. These were some quite unusual looking amaimono. It looked like she had used flour, butter, and syrup to cook them. I had to applaud her ability to get her hands on such variety in this day and age. She had said that her parents sent her an allowance. Such is the power of wealthy families, I suppose.
お茶も用意してますよ。みんなでのんびりしましょうね。阿久津さんは甘いものは苦手ですか？
Looked like she was going to try to talk me to it. Try to talk to me too. Time to do my job, I guess. I absolutely hate them. I can't stomach a single one. I made a rather unpleasant expression. She was required to stay in the good graces of others at all times. Certainly there is something to be said for kindness and generosity. However, purposeful goodwill cannot always win you the hearts of others.
そうですか。
じゃあ、それじゃあ、返事は。
すみません、本当にそんなに気を悪くされるとは思いませんでした。
An earnest apology.
ただ、阿久津さん、これとっても美味しいんです。実家ではよくお母さんに作ってもらっていて、お茶会をするときは必ず出てくるんです。
Did I not just state my dislike of amaimono?
すみません。無理に進めるつもりはないのですが。
You just... 何？
ただ、阿久津さんと一緒に食べたかったものですから。
The school day has reached its end. Students began to file out of the classroom.
阿久津さん、お疲れ様でした。
The forlorn expression she had worn at lunchtime was nowhere to be found.
授業はどうでしたか？
Honestly, they were fairly tedious. People with clear objectives in mind for the future, such as myself, have no need for countless lectures for the basic educational system.
阿久津さんの目標はやはり特別高等人になることですか？
Sonatori. No, that was merely one step on my path. I wonder what his ultimate goal is, actually. Skushy. I found school itself, Gakko itself, to be a rather fresh experience. It seemed quite inefficient at first, what with having everyone learn at the same pace. But I soon began to think that this could, in fact, serve to facilitate the development of cooperative skills.
学園が新鮮？
She seemed quite bemused with the prospect. Do not worry about it. My home simply did not have enough money to cover school expenses. Tonikaku, I must put in my report to Hosuki-san before we leave the Gakko.
わかりました。
Gakko-in.
私は阿久津さんのそばを離れるわけにはいきませんし。
Yokaro. Aksu desu. I've come to give today's report.
入りたまえ。暇だ。
Hosuki Ari let her elbows rest upon the desk, a dissatisfied expression clouding her face. She had the Jew from before wrapped around her index finger via the trigger hole and was idly spinning it round and round. Bro, what the hell? She's so trigger happy. To me, she resembled a bored child with restless hands.
失礼いたします。
As soon as Saika-san spoke, however, Hosuki-san's eyes lit up.
偉いぞ阿久津。一時も離れずに彩花を監視しているのだな。樋口はどうだ？さすがに阿久津一人で四六時中つきまとうのは大変だと思って補佐人としてつけてやったぞ。
Reporting.
聞かせてくれたまえ。
I glanced briefly at Saika-san to proceed with my report. I began my supervision of Saika Mina at 700 hours yesterday. My thoughts after monitoring for one evening are as follows. Her rehabilitation is proceeding admirably. I can find no particular faults with her. Scushy. Today I discovered she may have a tendency to impose kindness upon others to a degree which may be seen as unpleasant, and as such,
うるさい
she cut me off with a single harsh edict.
うるさいぞ阿久津
She stood up slowly.
ハエか貴様は
The Tokubetsu special eyeglass individual who stood a full 2 heads shorter than me, who seemed a child, even forced her presence upon me. Saika-san retreated, repressing a shriek. What exactly do you mean by that? I stood there mutely, unaware of the purpose behind her actions.
結論から言え
Her gaze pierced through me.
構成は終了したのかしていないのか
I responded immediately, unwilling to allow her the opportunity to overwhelm me with her wicked atmosphere. Yeah, I apologize. She took the opportunity to train her gun on me.
謝るな以後生きている限り二度と謝るな
This was not a throwaway remark intended to impress one's subordinate. Her words held a true menace. But her request was absurd. I had been with Saika-san for merely a day.
お前は内心こう思っているまだ一日目だろとだが私に言わせればもう一日も経ったのだ初日だしサイカミーナの性格を分析していたのだろう理屈屋の阿久津らしい出だしだな
She drew even closer to me, her gaze and voice completely unwavering.
経過報告などいらん成果だけを持ってこい
Wakarimashita. I will hasten in my endeavor.
よろしい失せろ
Streshimashita. Saika-san, iko. We escaped from the room. Saika-san's expression was pale. Her shoulders heaved as she attempted to draw a steady breath once more. Daijoubu ka? I had to admit, I was sweating a little myself.
あの方は一体
My superior, Hozoki Yarida-san.
私阿久津さんが殺されてしまうのではないかと
Excellent intuition on her part. If I had said anything further, I would have been close to that, yes.
先日まで私を監督してくださった先生もあそこまで恐ろしい方ではありませんでした
Indeed. They made certain to assign a particularly excellent, special high-class individual to the final exam. Goben, but you'll just have to put up with it until the exam concludes.
はいすみません取り乱してしまって
Yeah. This is perfectly understandable. Sa, ikimashou. Don't apologize. Her words resonated through my head, punctuated by the orange light of dust.
遅えよおめえら
Higuchi let his complaints ooze forth as soon as we arrived home. I think this might be my cutting point here. Yeah. Oh well, let me get back to my usual reading group. Today's been very short. I mean, this particular upload. Well, getting out of like one kamige and going to another, I guess. Or, well, yeah. Let's see. Alright, there you go. Anyway, I hope to see you guys again on the next upload. Ciao.
とうございます。聞いてください、桜と小鳥。
恋